What is the worst reason someone has used to reject you? Ugly Robloxy. And finally, I can do. This kid at my school wouldn't date me because I am adopted. He can't trust not knowing who my parents really are. Harambib. The fuck? Your adopted parents are who your parents really are. You dodged a bullet. Thanks for the silver, friend. Tabilagiadio. Maybe they looked a lot alike and he was concerned they were unknowingly related. Ikview 29. I have lupus and the guy said I don't want you to die before I do. He then proceeded to go for the crackhead with multiple DUIs. Aliria X. Nanny. Calvin _ Hobbs 124. Asterisk head explodes. Drag it into these. Sounds like he wanted someone he could save and knew he couldn't save you from it. Ikview 29. And he used my diagnosis, which was and is totally under control at this point, as a lousy out to be with said crackhead. He told me that thinking he'd still be the good guy in my eyes, but I also think he thought I was too naive to even notice his gap in logic and subsequently call him out on it. What's up 130? A guy who brought me to a coffee shop under the guise of a date and broke it off after we'd sat there for an hour talking about a movie he suggested I watch and told me he didn't think I could handle his anxiety. Turns out his anxiety was really another girl he was dating at the same time as me. I'd have just preferred the truth. Yuki Dararod. People try so hard to not hurt each other's feelings or not feeling like a villain they straight up forget the plain truth can be easier to process and move on from. Inform me die out hustling. She was into really fat dudes and I was only kind of fat. E_J_L. You dodged a bullet chubby. Kajkula. If he was any fatter, would be pretty damn hard to miss. The Internet Freak 478. Missed it, by an inch of fat. Huckster 22. Extra points, because that's hard to do as a kind of fat guy. Source, AM kind of fat guy. Britby 95. I'll take you, I'm only kind of fat too LMAO. Tree 53,672.673.674 points 4 hours ago. 13 children, careful. You're underestimating how thirsty people are around here. MT Alpha Wolf. Got her number? Gilly. I like you too much. I look at you and think what an amazing mother you would be to our kids and I don't want to be with someone I like that much. Nicoloas. My college boyfriend said the same thing. He was afraid of getting too serious so young, but thought I was perfect wife material. What? No to throw away 3334445. I had a girl say the same, you've been the perfect boyfriend, and are going to be a great husband and father someday. Can really mess you up when they tell you did everything right but don't want to be with you. Call it Indian. People know themselves pretty well and how they'd fuck your life up. I've been on both ends of this talk before. Reddit's in bed too. Yep. One of my exes broke up with me because they understood themselves enough to know I wasn't going to be happy in the long run. Looking back on our relationship, the signs were all there. He did me a huge favor. I was looking past his issues, but honestly, I wasn't going to look past them for much longer and would have been unhappy. Morad. You can do nothing wrong and still lose. That is not failure, that is life. Broken_bone 666. That sounds like something I would do. He probably was thinking that he was protecting you from himself. Cocky_Nick. Right person wrong time type thing. Pandas doing drugs. Be the right person at the right time, just like the dude who killed Hitler. King Kid. It's a him problem, not a you problem. He feels he met you at the wrong point in his life. It's serious and startling. He's not mature enough to be ready to settle down, but you were the kind of person he always envisioned marrying. I've had some friends I've looked at similarly, they'd be compatible long term, but the timing was just not right for that commitment for one reason or another. I was practically a directionless drunk at 19, by 28 I'm a completely different person. If the right one happened by at this juncture, I feel I'm mature enough to recognize it. If I met her back then though, there's no chance. I wasn't who I wanted to be, I was a useless drunk. Hand to 3. That's the same as my answer, but put a lot more eloquently. I've heard this too many times, but from a guy's perspective. It gets even more frustrating when those people decide to commit long-term to the very next relationship they get into. Ashlyn K. I dated a guy that said you're my best friend. Everything about us is perfect. If I had to build my dream woman, you would be it. Nothing more, nothing less. But I don't get butterflies with you. Bronchitis. Ouch. Ashley Meshley. I've had guys do this too. I can see a future with you, so I want to end it now before it ends in the future. A Morgan. Didn't get asked out on a second date in college because my FP was too hot. FP equals fat potential. Seagull Man 2. Wait. What? Holy in 5. Potential to become fat, probably. I wonder if Op's parents are large and some people assume you will turn out like your parents. A Morgan. No, my parents weren't large. I don't know why he thought it was a thing. Holy in 5. Very odd. I have definitely had friends/acquaintances who were worried about their potential dates because of how their parents looked and/or acted. Altefer 1. Can confirm this is not totally a bad thing. Dated a girl for 2 years who had horrible credit card debt, thousands of dollars. Spent 2 years trying to get her to pay it off and fix awful financial habits. Her parents renovated their kitchen to the tune of $75K, all on credit. They also have tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt. Daughter thought it was totally normal behavior. Nightmare. Downvote Damon. Dude, I don't know where to start with this comment, lol. Holy in 5. It is literally my nightmare. Having a long-time girlfriend who is buried in debt that I wasn't aware of. Tobias Mason Park. My guess was flower points, like in Paper Mario. Top class trier. I don't speak English with a French accent, so I wasn't as exotic as they thought I would be. English isn't my first language, but neither is French, so I was quite confused. Zach_attack 50. What is your first language? HMS Bounty Crew. Canadian. Any advice please __. Native. HMS Bounty Crew. No Yahoser. Moose Syrup Hockey sorry, @. @bar_. As a Canadian I can confirm this is 100% how we talk. Animaniac. Been 2 hours. Opted. Caleb_crawdad. Must be Latin. That _Blacksea can _guy. Chick told me she couldn't date someone with as serious mommy issues as I did. My mommy issues was that she had died 2 months earlier. Edit. I didn't expect to get so many likes posting on a 6-hour-old post. I wanted it to be buried lol. Edit 2. I meant upvotes. I'm tired. It's almost 2 a.m. Martin_FT. Yikes. Dorcasaurus_Rex. Damn, that's really shitty. What a piece of work. I'm so sorry for your loss, man. P. Loopy. I don't like girls that play RPG, says the lifelong RPG nerd. The Donut Panda. You must have been too good at grinding. Koala Cole. Or not good enough at grinding. A_wild_velociraptor. Definitely one of these two, everything else is just ridiculous. Midnight_arpeggio 2. Some people want partners who are into different things, so that they can share and expand their interests. Although I'm sure the guy in question wasn't thinking in this manner. As a nerdy guy, I'd be 100% stoked to have a nerdy girlfriend. Stu Stuffed Bunny. My roommate's cat is really sick and needs to go to the vet. Can you take me home? I've got the only car in the house. 1 week later. Hey, how's the cat doing? What cat? If you're gonna lie, at least remember it for a week. Lissa 3. I was on a really awkward coffee date. I had already mentioned I was heading to my parents' place for dinner that evening, a couple hours after the start. Maybe an hour into the date, I just wanted out. I mentioned I was gonna head to my parents then instead, and when he asked so early, I told him I wanted to play with their dog. Not my finest moment, but that date was going awfully bad. One mulatto. What made it seem so bad to you? Details. Aggressive spatula. He kept saying pickup lines. After the date had already started. We had no meaningful conversation and I couldn't tell you the first thing about him other than the fact that he thinks this is a good move. We were walking back from the park when he stopped me dead in my tracks and insists that we go into Taco Bell after I'd already used the dog line. So we walk in, he orders a taco, grabs the hot sauce, turns to me and looks me dead in the eye to say, "The only thing hotter than this hot sauce is you." He then opens the packet, downs it straight from the packet into his mouth, which takes an awkward 15 seconds. Then throws away his taco. Looks at me again, and says, "I'd never throw away your taco." Morav. Holy fucking shit. This is comedy gold. Mule_Roanny_Mayor. Performance comedy. I'd actually like to see where it could have gone and if he could commit to something he is actually good at. Morav. Actually, yeah. If things had gone a lot better in general, then I don't doubt that this date could have gone well. That, and his comedic timing might have been off. Like taking 15 seconds to slurp a packet. But hey, to us, the awkwardness enhances the hilarity. Eldest sauce. That story wasn't posted by the op. One mulatto. I can only be fooled once. Planet_ORNG. I sometimes do this even when I'm telling the truth. For example, if my cat, don't have one IRL, did actually have to go to the vet and you asked me how my cat was, a week later, there is a chance I would have no idea what you were talking about in that moment until you follow up. Once you mention the vet, then I will remember. People probably think I'm lying, but in reality my cat I took to the vet was not on my mind at all. Aubergine son. Oh, how is that sick kid? Me? What kid? Yes. I have kids. Count Zappale. My ex would cancel plans at the last minute and explain in great detail it was so that I'd be disappointed, which would make her feel guilty, which would in turn make the guilt a form of self-punishment for disappointing me in the first place, and also so that we wouldn't do the thing she wanted to do, which would make her disappointed by that fact as a further form of self-punishment for causing the disappointment, all of which would mean that I had inflicted negative emotions on her, i.e. the guilt and disappointment, so that she could be angry about the whole thing. Mercifully, that particular relationship didn't last too long. DWU 40. Dear God, that sounds taxing just reading it. A_wild_velociraptor. I still confused, but I got that she was an emotionally manipulative cunt, and I think that's all that mattered there. Freekill 101. The old "I did something wrong but I'm so upset with myself that I'm the victim" card never gets old. Lord Hudson 30. I'll give her mental gymnastics routine 9/10. Fist 13. Ha, my ex did the same exact thing. Almost word for word. What a miserable loop and existence it was. 7 months. When she came back, I didn't give her the time of day either. I was miserable in that relationship. Mid-sedoodlings. In first grade my crush was asking around if someone could tie his shoes because I guess he didn't know how to. Me wanting to tie his shoes and maybe talk to him said I'll tie your shoes. And then he just said these shoes are a different tie. One stupid reason and one broken-hearted 6-year-old. Tripped. When I was 14 my best friend wrote me a 2-page breakup letter. In the letter she explained that she needed to improve her social standing and that she couldn't do that and still be associated with me. She outlined her 14-step plan to become popular, and apparently step 3 was to cut ties with all her unpopular or weird friends. I only read a few lines before I gave it back and told her she was a moron, that it was a stupid plan and that she could do all that and still be unpopular. She just smiled sadly and wished me well in life, unfriended me from everything and refused to even look at me for 2 months. Well, eventually she realized her plan was bullshit and that her relationship with the popular kids actually got worse because of it, sort of like the end half of Mean Girls, and came crawling back. I like to think I handled that whole situation with maturity and grace, but it really messed me up for a while and it's still one of the most hurtful things a person has ever done to me. Baby Mish 87. A girl I wasn't real close to did that. Didn't write a letter but tossed all her friends to become popular. She had been close friends with the popular group K6, but by the time 7th rolled around we had new kids and she got, not really kicked to the curb, but set to the side. 8th grade she told everyone that she could not be seen talking to us, she was only going to be friends with the popular girls. She told me, even though we weren't friends. I didn't like it, and rarely spoke to her. I went out of my way to tell her hello. I would yell it across the hallway. Even the group she was trying to befriend knew what I was doing and blocked her out. She forgot I was friends with them all. I think she lasted 2 weeks before crawling back to her friends. Black Feather. Similar thing happened to me. Was friends with this girl since I'd met her. My mom worked in the hospital and had saved her mom's life after a really bad car accident that claimed her aunt's life, from 2nd grade up until 7th grade. Then she decided she wanted to be in the popular crowd and I didn't make the cut, seeing as I befriended all the underdogs when I entered middle school. So she pretended I didn't exist at first, then eventually went on to making fun of me in front of the popular girls so they'd like her. It hurt. But what hurt more is the stuff I'd hear the popular girls say about her behind her back, how they'd make fun of her for having ragged clothes and being poor. We all lived in the same damn poverty-stricken Detroit area city. How they could judge. She was naive and still blindly followed them wherever they went. Luckily I escaped that district by high school, so I don't know what became of her after 8th grade. Next thing I knew of her whereabouts, she'd moved down to Florida to pop out a bunch of kids with an abusive crackhead. I had to piece out of her life after I seen her defending his behavior after he got killed in a drive-by. There's some people you just can't fix. Finally Infinite. I moved to a new state between 2nd and 3rd grade. The girl who became one of my first friends there, and was close friends with me in 3rd through 6th grade, changed her mind between 6th and 7th. She befriended the popular girls on our cross-country team, and after that she bullied me relentlessly. Sometime late in high school we were able to talk to each other like acquaintances, but we're not friends and I don't really care. It hurt a lot when it was happening, but she was a bitch and it is what it is. I made it past the bullying and found real friends, eventually. Kids just fucking suck. Big B Wolf HS. Dude, I definitely need to see the 14-step plan, seems to have so much meme potential. Plus I was never that popular, so who knows. For fun region. You were probably never as unpopular as a 14-step plan would make you, lol. Feisty Foodie. When I was in high school, I went out of my way to make friends and wrote letters to people in my various classes. Nothing poignant. I'm pretty sure it was "Hi, I'm in math class, OMG, so boring" type of stuff, you know. Anyway, this one girl tolerated it for a letter or two and wrote back polite messages, but after one or two she wrote me that she had enough friends and wasn't looking to make more friends. A little shitty, but I was a very oblivious 14-year-old, shrugged it off and went on my merry way to not write her anymore. I wouldn't remember this happened except years later. She wrote in my yearbook and apologized and said that the gift of friendship when offered isn't to be taken for granted, and she felt bad for having done that to me. That part stuck with me. Like, it was so self-aware and I don't know, deep for a then 17-year-old. Teenagers can be really shitty. Orangutan. At the very least you can know that someone in the world grew as a person in part because of you. My salt sucks. I need to stop hanging out with weird friends. Bitch, you're the weird friend. Acrolopede. I'm really into you, but I still think I want to be with my boyfriend for a few more months, but when he goes back to Pennsylvania, we can start going out. Bitch, I'm not a TV dinner. You can't pop me in the freezer and think I'll be ready to heat up when you're ready for me. Pal Malone. She was totally trying to keep you on her hook. Salte. At least she was honest about it. Stabby Pants. Probably worked before. Endure. Probably completely depends what he wants. Like if getting laid is the only thing, then sure, whatever, see ya then. Rebecca socks. At least she fucked up and told you about it so you know to avoid her in the future. Otherwise she would have just ghosted you until he left, then popped back up and restarted things. Eventually you would start to see the cycle and put an end to it, but now you get to avoid all that mess. Note another hipster. High school girlfriend broke up with me after 2 years saying it was God's will we break up. Lord Hudson 30. God just did you a solid. Endure. I pardon you. God. And later man. You're officially pardoned, from life. Zaps with death stick. Crystal NC. Oh. Oh, the smell. I'm stepping on it, look. Wow. What's it smell like? Burnt toast. The ceiling fan. Holy shit, the same thing happened to me except I was getting between her and God. Extradian. God, Christian girls are like that all the time. They don't like you, so they say I prayed about it and God told me I need to be single now. Or some BS. When really she's getting some Browntown from your second cousin. Midnight_moon 29. I live under a rock. What is Browntown? Extradian. Anal LOL. Religious girls stereotypically go for the poop hole loophole. Draken_Pyrothean. Or as Garfunkel and Oates put it, fuck me in the ass cause I love Jesus. The good Lord would want it this way. Gimme that sweet sensation of a throbbing rationalization, it's just between you and me cause everyone knows it's the sex that God can't see. Horse fighting league. I got the privilege of being the see if I could do this relationship after a divorce. After doing the whole meet the family, talk about moving in, blah blah blah. Go out to dinner one night, they dropped to the effect of thanks for giving me the confidence to know that I can put myself out there again. As they explained it, they just needed to know if they could even go through the motions of a relationship. Kofi. My parents found out your black hangs up. Mr_sto0PID. That's a big oof. Called Karuk. My grandparents cut my dad out of their trust because my mom is Japanese, but they were white and racist. At least my dad didn't cave to that before they got married, and quite frankly I'm sure he didn't care after they married either. Ended up putting him back in after his sister proved to be a worser human being than they were as racists, and they didn't trust her to control their assets. Some people in this world aren't worth it if they don't love you for who you are. Others come around eventually. Yuzidori_. I felt like I was with a child because I have dwarfism. I don't blame her at all for feeling that way, and it's it's a totally justified reason to not feel attraction towards me, but fuck did that do a number on my self-esteem. XJ371. I use a wheelchair. He dumped me because of it by saying, when I'm with you, I'm disabled, too. I would have much rather he called me a fucking bitch, because being a fucking bitch is something I could have changed, you know? Life failure. What kind of fucking loser doesn't want to cut the lines at Disneyland? Gemini 1568. I sprained my ankle at Disneyland one morning and got offered a wheelchair for the day. My friends milked that line cutting perk for all it was worth, even though I insisted I was fine after a few hours. Pemer complains. Damn man. I don't have dwarfism, but I'm really short, so my feelings are hurt for you. Mista smiles. I like this tactic. If she sees you as a child, act dirty and lecherous. E over T. The Tyrion approach. PH0XC. Straight up told I was ugly. Somebody asked me for a picture of me and I delivered. I'm a dude. Some of you thought I was a chick and messaged me LMAO.